Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Police services across the GTA are warning of an increase in violent carjackings and home invasions, despite a drop in traditional car theft. And now a new report from the Equity Association outlines which cars are more likely to get stolen in Canada. Now, these are the top three. At number 3 is the 2021 Lexus RX series. In second is the 2022 Land Rover Defender. And in the top spot is the 2022 Range Rover. Equity's data indicate that for every 14 Range Rovers in this province, one is stolen. The association is calling for more to be done to stop car thefts. And meanwhile, one couple in Milton who had their vehicle stolen is now warning other families to protect themselves. Brittany Billette has more.
From the time the truck started to out the driveway was 42 seconds.
Brian and Kayla DiFrancesco's truck was stolen this past summer. It happened on their quiet residential street in Milton, Ontario at 4 in the morning while the family was asleep. To this day, they're still spooked, including their 4-year-old son.
He said to me, "Mommy, what happens if they come back? Are they going to hurt me?" And that breaks my heart more than anything because he's now not feeling safe.
Security camera from the neighbor's house captured the theft. It took 6 minutes to turn off their Wi-Fi, break into the car, and drive off.
On the Halton website, there's steps to prevent car theft, and one of them was put a steering wheel lock, which we had. The other was block it in with another vehicle, which we did. The other one was have a ring, like a camera, which we did, but they were able to block the Wi-Fi on that. So the last thing we have that is them smashing the window. It's like we followed almost every step, and they still got us here.
Their 2024 Toyota Tundra was like many stolen vehicles in Canada, a large truck with a keyless ignition that didn't have anti-theft devices beyond the factory-installed alarm.
There's many reasons why people steal vehicles. Number one would be for export. It's extremely lucrative, high reward, low risk. They're also being stolen and chopped up and sold part by part. Again, very lucrative, as well as revinning. Either these organized crime groups are using the vehicle for their own use or trying to sell it into the market.
Police services in the GTA say recent government and policing initiatives have helped slow down car thefts from where things were last year. For example, in Toronto, police say car thefts are down 21% this year. But now the way cars are being stolen has become much more violent. Home invasions related to auto thefts are up almost 140%, and carjackings are up 18% in Toronto. Peel and York Regional Police say they're seeing similar trends too.
Higher-end vehicles are now having to be targeted by people actually being confronted to have their car keys, or in quite a few of the concerning cases, we have people breaking into houses to steal the car keys for vehicles that are parked in driveways overnight.
Following the federal government's Auto Theft Summit in February, there's been increased collaboration between police, border services, insurance companies, and automakers, but some say more needs to be done.
Vehicles are manufactured to the requirements of whatever particular country when it comes to the security package. And we're looking to elevate and make the Canadian security package much more robust.
After we got our new vehicle, first thing we did was we got the tag system put in because that was recommended by everybody. So why aren't these things coming already put in so we don't have to get to this point of this happening?
The DiFrancescos say everything considered, they feel lucky because no one was hurt. Their advice to others?
Don't try to be a hero.
After their truck was stolen, they stepped up their home security, and they recommend others do the same. Brittany Billette, CBC News, Toronto.
Peel Region saying today it has dramatically reduced 911 wait times with the help of public education and AI. Ali Chiasson explains.
911 call wait times have gone from an average of 2 minutes to just 14 seconds in Peel Region, and it's a testament to a lot of things.
Fundamentally, it's through education, staffing, and new technology.
They rolled out PSAs like,
"Hi, someone from this number dialed into 911. Do you have an emergency there?"
Hired more call takers, and rolled out what's called Next Generation 911, which uses artificial intelligence to clear the bogus calls from the queue. Famously,
we heard stories about people calling for a pizza or a cricket game. We've seen a massive decline in those misuse calls.
1 year ago in 2023, we were averaging about 1 million calls into our 911 communication center, of which 40% were misused.
They weren't all about pizza or people looking to report their coffee being too hot. but mostly pocket dials, hang-ups. Still, though, non-emergencies would tie up the lines. Here's how things used to go.
Non-emergency calls that would come through were answered in sequence without knowing what an emergency was. If the emergency was call number 33, we would have to go through 33 calls to understand what the emergency is.
Now,
Next Generation 911 allows us to answer that call immediately. So now you see a greater response time in terms of wait decreasing and hopefully an officer being able to get to the doorstep.
or ambulance, or fire, this is all about getting the right help at the right time. Toronto police are expecting to have their next generation 911 system in place by March. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
The Ontario Liberal Party is looking for answers about the cost of what it calls government ads that are propaganda, ones promoting the province using taxpayer money. CBC News has discovered an earlier version of this ad campaign costs $8 million. Queen's Park reporter Lorena Redicop takes a look.
The government ad played in a prime spot right after the Jonas Brothers headlined the Grey Cup halftime show.
Have you heard? There's a place where it's all happening.
The ad touts the province's electric vehicle and battery plant investments, bigger paychecks for people, and clean energy.
And what if we told you that place is Ontario, the place you already call home?
The ad has also aired during other coveted spots, during Leafs and NFL games.
The government's spending millions and millions of taxpayer dollars to fund ads to tell us everything's good and rosy. Things aren't rosy. Their families are struggling. And the government is trying to convince us with our own money that everything's okay. And that's wrong, because they want an election.
Liberal John Fraser first asked the government about the ads on Monday.
How can the Premier justify wasting millions of dollars on his orgy of feel-good ads while so many children in his own backyard don't have a family doctor?
The finance minister says the government is helping families and attacked the Liberals.
They voted against a gas tax cut. They voted against providing relief to the struggling families of Ontario.
Fraser wasn't satisfied with the response and has asked the government to provide more answers.
What if we told you there's a place where it's all happening?
Back in February, after an earlier version of this ad campaign, CBC News filed a Freedom of Information request and found out the government spent close to $8 million, including production and buying the airtime. These types of self-promotional government ads used to be banned until former Liberal Premier Kathleen Wynne changed that and spent millions on government advertising. When Doug Ford came to power, he promised to tighten the rules, but hasn't. Instead, spending nearly $40 million while in power on ads the Auditor General called partisan. Fraser now says it was a mistake when his party loosened the rules and says the Ford government's ads are wrong.
It's false advertising, right? Propaganda? Yeah, it's propaganda.
We asked the government how much this newest round of ads cost, but it didn't answer that. The Auditor General's report will look at advertising spending, but this latest campaign likely won't be included. Lorena Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
A couple of weeks ago, we told you about some home buyers who are out millions of dollars in down payments after a developer failed to build their homes. As Saloni Bugra explains, Sunrise Homes is now in the crosshairs of regulators as the province goes after the developer in an attempt to put them out of business.
Ontario's Home Construction Regulatory Authority, or HCRA, says it started the process of revoking the licenses of home builder Sunrise Homes. It also says it will not renew the builder's license for some of its subsidiary companies. This after alleging the company built and sold homes without legal approvals and has shown a complete lack of respect for Ontario regulations. In all, more than 100 home buyers are out $14 million in down payments for homes Sunrise sold but never built. The builder also defaulted on repaying $10 million of corporate funds they've misused. Fran Hug bought a Sunrise home that never got built. He wonders why the province didn't crack down sooner on the builder.
This has really set us back as a family. I would say probably in the realm of 3 to 5 years. It has taken away my confidence in investing and looking for another home, even if it was a resale. I am still awake at night thinking about the loss and thinking about what will happen in the future. When I found out about the information on the builder and the defaults and the receiverships at the other sites, it definitely sort of felt like the carpet was pulled under my feet.
The provincial regulatory says it's been looking into Sunrise Homes for over a year. In a call last month, the company's co-director Sajjad Hussain conceded he's been building homes for 15 years in violation of regulations, such as registering homes with Tarion, the provincial warranty program.
Obviously, that is not the correct practice. The practice is whenever you sell, you have to register it. Yes, absolutely, I did not do it, and I'm not going to lie to you about that. That is the practice, but we took a calculated risk or a calculated strategy.
The HCRA told CBC Toronto in an email statement it's considering further action against the company, including fines. Still, real estate lawyer Bob Aaron says it's not nearly enough.
I don't see anything in this proposal that would discourage any other bad actors from doing it again. Anybody who wants to sell homes without a license, there's a free rein because there are not enough inspectors from Tarion and from the Home Construction Regulatory Authority to prevent someone from doing this again. I think the Ontario public is being hung out to dry.
The government says Sunrise is appealing its efforts to shut it down. Saloni Pugra, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, 2 days after being crowned the Grey Cup champions out west, the Toronto Argos are back in town celebrating with fans with a championship rally downtown today. Our Greg Ross was there.
2024 Grey Cup champions, the Toronto Argos!
Thousands of the Argos' most loyal fans gathered in Maple Leaf Square this afternoon to celebrate the team's latest Grey Cup victory. They chanted,
Let's go Argos!
Waved flags, and almost all of them wore double blue to support the Grey Cup winning Argos, including this man who wore a special blue Santa Claus outfit for the championship rally.
It's like Christmas came early for Argos fans. Do you call yourself Blue Santa?
I didn't call myself that, but people have been calling me that for a couple of years now, yeah.
The Argos may not have the biggest fan base when it comes to sports teams in the city, but the accomplishments of this team are huge. This marks the 19th Grey Cup championship in franchise history.
Toronto better learn and respect us because we are #1.
We're small but mighty.
We've won 19 Grey Cups and we're going for 20 next year. So look out, here we come.
The celebration was the culmination of what has been a non-stop party for players.
A lot of alcohol goes into the Grey Cup.
Since the Argos beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 41-24 in the Grey Cup game Sunday night.
And we drink it all.
It's just been a whirlwind ever since and haven't got a chance to kind of just breathe yet and soak it all in. So this is pretty cool.
Quarterback Nick Arbuckle, who was named the most valuable player of the Grey Cup, says it seemed like it was the team's destiny to win after head coach Ryan Dinwiddie taped a toonie under his stall in the locker room at BC Place Stadium when the team played there back on September 13th.
I think he taped it on there and said, I'll be back to collect that later.
The toonie was still there when the Argos returned to Vancouver for the Grey Cup last week.
Here come the Argos now. Mital, 10-5, touchdown!
Dinwiddie says it has extra special meaning now.
I'm going to put it up in a trophy case with the Grey Cup ring. So, yeah, I didn't want to lose it.
Approximately 2,500 fans came out to celebrate the Argos win. It was the team's second Grey Cup in the last 3 years. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
After over 6,500 votes, the Toronto Zoo's Red Panda cub has a name. The cub was formerly nicknamed Biggie. She will now be affectionately referred to as Poppy. The winning name was chosen out of 5 floral-themed options in honor of her mom, Sakura. Now, Poppy will now start to explore smaller areas of her habitat to become more comfortable in new surroundings. The red panda is listed as an endangered species. It is estimated that their total population is anywhere between 2,500 and 10,000. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back. Whether we like it or not, winter is coming, and there's a new campaign to remind drivers about preparing for snow and icy conditions.
The first thing that we talk about are winter tires or snow tires. And the importance of having a set of 4 snow tires put on your vehicle prior to that winter weather arriving.
The campaign was launched this morning by CAA, OPP, and Toronto Police. It includes tips on how to install winter tires, checking your car's battery, and making an emergency kit. And they recommend drivers keep their tanks half full at all times. And police are reminding people that it's now illegal to pass snowplows on Ontario highways. The defense lawyer for Alpha Henry, a Toronto man accused of second-degree murder in the deaths of his parents, is signaling he is going to seek a ruling of not criminally responsible. Now, meanwhile, today in court, the Crown prosecutor attempted to prove the contrary, using extensive video evidence to try to convince the judge that Henry had intent and should be held criminally responsible. Chris Glover reports.
As Alpha Henry gets led into his parents' North York apartment building around noon on September 19, 2022, the Crown alleges he's holding the murder weapon, a pair of scissors with white handles. The prosecution trying to prove Alpha went upstairs with those scissors and intended to kill his parents.
And he just starts to stab us. And now there's blood everywhere.
Court has heard that about 36 hours later, on September 21st, Alpha called 911 accusing his brother of coming home from a work trip, stabbing and killing his parents.
Got 2 bodies in the tub.
Then putting them in the tub and dousing their bodies in gasoline.
There's no gasoline, so be cautious.
You start attacking her, like, what the? You not seeing it, and then you start attacking me from behind it.
Alpha's defense so far has focused on the accusations he made against his brother the very day he was arrested.
For murder and attempt murder, you have been arrested. Sorry?
His defense lawyer has also routinely hinted at Alpha's mental unfitness and now is officially asking for a ruling on not criminally responsible or NCR.
It's really a crucial finding to an NCR decision because NCR presupposes that the accused actually committed the act and did so intentionally.
Defense lawyer Tyler Smith has no connection to the case. He says in Canadian law, if the judge rules that Alpha intended to kill his parents, she will toss the defense of not criminally responsible, even in cases like this, when the accused has also pointed the finger at another.
If the other alleged suspect did not have the opportunity to commit the offense, then that pretty much rules that out. So the Crown must have known that this was going to be coming down the pipe eventually. And so the Crown led, other evidence that is relevant to his mental state at the time.
And so the Crown revived evidence the court has already seen as it tried to prove intent, like surveillance footage of Alpha buying gasoline and tossing items in a dumpster. Meanwhile, the defense continued to pick apart the evidence, questioning the lack of DNA under the parents' dead fingernails. Bottom line is these people were viciously attacked, the defense said. There's no question about it. They died under horrible circumstances, and neither of them seemed to have someone else's DNA under the fingerprints, the defense said incredulously, and leaned into the fact that the autopsy was inconclusive on the exact time of death. Defense, his evidence is that he can't make a conclusion. Judge, so you say that I can draw a reasonable inference from this that the mom was killed shortly before the first responders arrived? Correct, the defense argued, but the defense called Alpha's version of events an obvious fabrication. Alpha alleges Daniel arrived home from a work trip in Japan at 1:36 a.m. on September 21st, got into a fight with his parents, stabbed and killed them, moved their bodies to the tub, doused them in gasoline, all while fighting off Alpha. Yet surveillance video shows 5 minutes after Daniel arrived home, he's already seen behind the building, heading to the gas station to call 911. That number of things and that amount of time is a physical impossibility, the Crown told the judge. The only available inference to Your Honor is that this is a lie by Mr. Alpha Henry. It is undeniable. The lying is positive evidence of his guilt. Alpha has pleaded not guilty, and since there's no jury in the trial, the judge will now have to weigh more than just his guilt or innocence, but his mental fitness as well. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Khalil Hassan Ali joins us now with a check on the forecast. And how's it looking out there, Khalil?
Yeah, it's going to be overcast for the most part, maybe a few drizzle spots in and around the city as we go through the rest of the overnight and into Wednesday morning, I should say, getting ahead of myself. So what do we have in store as we go through the rest of the work week and in towards the weekend? Actually going to be pretty mild on Wednesday, getting up to the double digits once again. Around 11 degrees is the expected high. However, mixed in with that is going to be a lot of wind that is going to be bringing down the field temperature. So it's going to be feeling like it's in the single digits. Kind of a reversal as we go through Thursday and Friday. Temperature is going to drop. However, the wind and also the wet weather going to be moving out of the picture. And as we go towards the weekend, some of that is going to be staying there. So it's going to remain overcast, especially for Sunday or for Saturday. Sunday is where we do see a possible change, maybe even that sunshine coming back into the fold. So daytime highs today, right around the 10-degree mark around Toronto, just under the 10-degree mark in Hamilton, closer towards Windsor. We got up to 15 degrees, quite nice for the daytime high this afternoon. As we look into the overnight, this is what the temperature is going to be dropping down. So in and around the GTA, not fluctuating too much. The more you go towards southwestern Ontario, it does get further into the single digits. Now going ahead, we're looking at some precipitation entering the picture. So scattered as we go through the morning tomorrow, and then as we go through the afternoon, it really does start to ramp itself up. So looking at the afternoon commute, the evening commute, for anyone out there, that 5 o'clock hour, watch for the heavy rains to come in as we go through the darkest hours of the night into towards 9 o'clock. You see that dark green, that yellow, that is going to be the heaviest portion of that precipitation coming into the picture for everyone driving around the city at that time. Then it clears itself out pretty nicely, but we're looking at a lot of purple and pink in the picture. That is going to be ice accumulation and snow coming down from above. So let us look at also the winds that are going to be playing a factor for us. It's not going to be too bad as we start out the day, but look at it pick up through the rest of the afternoon. So by Thursday, 2 o'clock in the morning, we got 60 kilometers an hour as the expected wind temperatures. And as we're going into the next couple of days, we're looking at 11 and then 7 and 8 as we go through Thursday and the end of the work week, Helda.
All right. Thanks so much, Khalil.
No problem. Thank you.
And that is our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night, everyone.